Drilled to left field. Is it high enough? See ya! A walk-off grand slam, and the Yankees win.
And he drives one to right field over toward the line. Long run for Laureano, and he runs it, and the Mets win the ball game.
Kevin Monk, Michael Merlo, episode 47 of The Burrows, where we talk Yankees, Mets. Really bad week for the Yankees here that were, early in a literal calendar week, but this past 6 days has been a disaster. Mets got a win last night, so we feel a little better about it. They had the worst weekend of their season. But Mike, orange and blue skies after last night. Knicks win, Isles first pick. Every team in New York winning except for the Yankees. Mets big win. We'll talk about Mets big win later, but how you feeling today on this Tuesday morning?
That's huge. It's a feel-good Tuesday after the Knicks steal one in Boston, the Isles. We were talking about it, get the first pick. And the Mets, late night. Love the late night ball. We'll get into that later. But the Yankees looked like they were cruising for most of this game, Kevin, and until they weren't.
Yeah, exactly. Until they weren't. And it was one of those really annoying games because they're up 2-0 after 4, and they delay the game for, half hour plus. Yeah. And you're just hoping, they move on to the next day with the game, finish it tomorrow or finish it, whenever you can. But it's supposed to rain today and tomorrow also, so they couldn't do that. And also they didn't get through the 5 innings needed for the Yankees to get the win. They go up 3-0, and then the 8th inning, another little delay. They come back, and Boone plays Boone ball, and we lose the game because Weaver and Williams, but Williams solely, it should have been Cruz. Weaver didn't have his stuff. He gives up the runs that go ahead. It's about time for Weaver that he breaks a little bit. We've been talking about him so much, but they end up losing 4-3. And there's just so many different things that I want to complain about in this game, but I'm curious your outsider perspective on this one. What are the main points?
Yeah, I think not leaving Cruz in is probably the biggest one. I understand wanting to get Williams reps there and in sort of a high leverage spot, but also working him back in. With Weaver, he obviously makes the right move going to his best guy, but he's due, right? Like he's due for one of those outings where you bring him into an absolute mess and he's going to give up a couple of them. He's just that's what's going to happen. And, he ends up giving up every single run plus some more, but not staying with Cruz and going to Williams after 2 pitches is the move that I think most Yankee fans are sitting here today screaming and yelling about.
And it's really frustrating that you get a great Rodon start again. And when you see the stats about the Yankees are 4 games under 500 when Max Fried doesn't pitch, then you need to win your Rodon starts. And really any start that this rotation is able to give you, because you do have that back end of Carrasco and Warren who aren't going to give you quality starts. And when you get a 6 2/3 innings pitch, no runs, you got to win the game for Carlos Rodon, and you don't, and you blow it. And Mike, with Devin Williams, I am a big advocate of his impact on the Yankees if he's Devin Williams from Milwaukee. Like, I'm very passionate about him needing to be that guy for the Yankees to get to where they want to go, and that's the World Series. But at what point is it just over to put him into any leverage spots? Is this it?
It's tough because you brought him here to be the closer. I mean, you brought him here to be that weapon in the back end of the bullpen that you haven't had in a few years, right? So it's tough to give up on that dream. And I mean, you gave up a decent amount for him for just 1 season of him, right? It wasn't a huge package, but it's only 1 year of Devin Williams. I don't think you're there yet. I don't. I understand you have the 5 losses leading in the 8th inning or later. Is it the 8th inning or later? 5 losses, 8th inning or later. That's the most in baseball. 4 of them are because of Devin Williams. I understand that, but it is early still. You got to give the guy chances. I mean, you have to, because if you can get him right, having Weaver and Williams in the back end of that bullpen is such a weapon. So you can't give up yet. It's only May 6th. You can't give up yet.
And I don't want to be looking back here at the end of September And, maybe they trade Williams or he's just not pitching any big spots anymore. And I'm saying we really could use another dominant guy at the back of the rotation, at the back of the pen. And we didn't give Williams much of a shot after that first month because they need him. 4, 5, 6 losses here might be small in the picture of Devin Williams dominated from June 1st on, and it became an afterthought. But I don't know. It just doesn't feel like that's going to happen. We've spoken a couple times, especially last week, about his body language and the way he looks as a Yankee. He does not look like he's happy at all or comfortable.
Was he booed off the mound last night?
I don't even think really, because it was like by the time that he was out there, it was like 4,000 fans, I felt like, in the seat. Because of all the days in the rain. But
that's a night to be at Yankee Stadium, by the way. That's some night to be there.
That was terrible.
They got to offer any fan that was there. I know they did this actually earlier in the year. They got to do it again. You got to give every fan that sat there for that game a voucher to another game.
That's
during the week.
Really, really bad game to be at.
Like, come on. And those tickets are not cheap because you got a interleague team, exciting team, and the Padres coming into town. So those weren't, royal tickets on a weeknight. Those were pretty penny, probably, some of those seats.
And then either way, you spend, if you get an $18 grandstand or bleacher seat, you're still paying $45 to park or to take the train. Then you're paying for food. It's $80 for a hot dog and a water.
Sure.
And it ends up being $100 plus night at least for two people. And you watch that garbage in that weather, just terrible.
Look at us helping out the little guy.
Come on. We are the little guy.
We are definitely. Guy. We're definitely. I'm definitely the little guy. But either way, not a great night to be there. And Carlos Rodon, I mean, you mentioned it. You can't lose a start like that. He has been very good for this team. I mean, outside of a couple of duds, he's been nails. And last night was one of those games where he was on. And 6 2/3 scoreless to lose. I couldn't believe after the Knicks game, I'd settled in. I took a shower, put the Met game on, and I turned on the Yankee game, and I saw it all happen. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Yeah, you look through Rodon's last 4 starts first. I'll get to that. 6 2/3 innings pitched last night, no runs. Prior, 6 innings pitched, 2 runs against Baltimore. Then prior to that, it was at Cleveland, 7 innings pitched, no runs, 8 Ks. And right before that, it was the Tampa game, 6 innings pitched, no runs. So in his last, nearly 20 innings, he's given up 2 earned runs, and he has over 20 strikeouts. He's been the guy they paid. Finally, you're starting to see it happen. And you have Max Fried as well. But when you're losing games that he pitches that well, and it's so disheartening. I have a few gripes with Aaron Boone. You obviously mentioned taking Cruz out, putting Williams in, and it's not a good move. Obviously, in hindsight, it's a terrible move. Cruz gets 1 out in the game, and they lose after because Williams comes in and blows it. But I'm really getting frustrated with the lineups. I've, a month ago came on here and said you shouldn't be hitting Wells and Dominguez back-to-back against left-handed pitching, because they can't hit left-handed pitching. So that didn't make sense at the time. Still doesn't do it as much anymore, though. You have Jason Dominguez on your bench almost every 2 days now. Every third day he plays, it feels like. And it's in favor of Grisham and Bellinger. And let's be honest, Trent Grisham's got to play.
Every day.
Has to. He's the second best hitter on the Yankees.
Yeah.
But Cody Bellinger against against right-handed pitching is hitting 200 average points lower than Jason Dominguez. So he should not be playing. He has better splits. He has reverse splits, Bellinger. So he should not be playing. And whatever side of the split you go to sucks. But he should not be playing over Dominguez as much as he is. They're not giving Dominguez any proper run here to actually develop. And this Pablo Reyes nonsense over the weekend that he plays over Vivas and Peraza and Cabrera, it should never happen. Reyes is not a major league player. There's just so many frustrations I have. And I don't know if I'm in like the it's only May thing. I don't know if I'm just so excited about the Knicks right now that I'm not getting too upset about the Yankees, or Is it because of the American League and the AL East are awful? The AL East is terrible, Mike.
It's terrible. The problem that I would have, honest to God, like, yeah, I understand not playing Dominguez. You're not giving him a chance to develop into this player that I think that you thought he could be. But I'm looking like the last couple of nights, and I know that Jazz is hurt and you don't have Stanton right now, but the bottom of this lineup is awful. Awful. Peraza, Cabrera, Reyes. I mean, when Wells gets a day off, you got the Uber driver. I mean, it is just a terrible bottom of the lineup. Terrible. And if you got Bellinger in there, he's hitting 200. I mean, and Dominguez, like, I understand what you're saying. He's a young guy and you want to see what he has, but he's not hitting. I mean, he's just not hitting.
Yeah.
No, and you can't play him against a lefty. You can't. It's just impossible. It's an auto out.
And when you look at the bottom of the order, like, this is where I can't not blame Brian Cashman for stuff.
No, this is where he needs to get some blame, and it's not even on Boone.
Jose Iglesias got a minor league deal. There were players. It's not about money. It's not Hal Steinbrenner gives him a budget and he gets so handcuffed that this is not a money problem. You're going to tell me now, oh, DJ LeMahieu's hitting 450 down in AAA. This is going to be a great ad for us. Come on, man. Like,
and who's going down?
He had a 530 OPS last year.
Is it going to be Peraza? Is it going to be Reyes?
I think it's going to be Peraza.
Vidas, whatever his name is.
Vivas. Yeah, and he, like, Vivas, another thing. The guy, well, let's go back to the weekend. Sunday's game.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw the pinch hit controversy.
I did not.
That Boone got himself into. So the Yankees are finally threatening, down 4 runs, maybe it was, but they got men on. I think the bases. Yeah, the bases loaded. I'm trying to just remember the situation so I don't get it messed up. This is Sunday afternoon. The bases loaded. They were down 7-3, and they have coming up. It was Escara, Vivas, and Peraza. So Escara comes up to the plate. Austin Wells can catch an inning if he has to on a day. Like it was his day off because he caught them 3 days before, but he can catch an inning if we have to win this game right now, right? Yeah. Or Ben Rice could even catch an inning. So instead of pinch hitting for Ben Rice for Escara when he was up with nobody out, bases loaded, he lets Escara hit. Escara hits into a double play where the first out was at home and the second out was at first, worst possible scenario.
Right.
And they don't even get a run in. So then he pinch hits Rice for...
No, then he pinch hits Vivas for Reyes.
Vivas for Reyes, yes.
Reyes started, he brought in Vivas to pinch
That's
hit.
what it was. And Vivas gets a great, up the middle, 2 out, 2 RBI single.
Yep.
And then was Rice...
And then it was Cabrera.
When did Rice hit in this? Or did he at all?
I think Rice comes up here and walks.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so this is what happens. Escara hits into the double play. Boone pinch hits Rice with the base open. That's what happened. And they walk Rice intentionally on 4 pitches. And then Vivas hits the single, and the inning ends after. It is manager 101 to put Rice up without a free base, with no outs.
Right.
And then Boone in the postgame says, I was going to pinch hit him for Escara, but then the double play happened, so we didn't. Escara hit into the double play. What do you mean you were going to pinch hit him for Escara, but then the double play happened? Escara was allowed to hit. You let him go into the box. So I just don't have confidence in him to give them the edge because of situations like that.
That's a bad one. And again, when you're making out the lineup, leaving some guys out, that's fine. He's really, especially with the bottom of this lineup, like he's just dealing with what Boone gave, with what Cashman gave him.
Yep.
Listen, he's gotten some heat. You're not the only Yankee fan. I've been hearing it for a week now. I mean, it's been a bad week. But a lot of this, I don't want to make excuses for him, but I don't think he has the right talent, especially on the bench, for him to deal with these situations. I don't think there's much there.
They might have the worst assortment of bench bats in the league. as bad as Colorado or Chicago, like whoever they're rolling out, but it's as bad.
Cabrera, Peraza, Reyes, Vivas, they can't hit. They can't hit.
No, they can't. And Vivas has played 4 games. Maybe he's a guy that can play. We don't really know yet, but you're not coming into the year hoping that Jordan Vivas gets serious competitive at-bats in the first half of the season. That's not a thing that was supposed to happen. So it's frustrating. It's disheartening, especially you go to the World Series. The way the offseason played out, I give Cashman a slight pass because he assembled the best starting rotation in the league. That was obviously his goal.
Right.
He loses Cole, loses Heel, loses Schmidt for the first 3 weeks. Now, he didn't start again over the weekend. I don't know. It's just Boone blew Saturday's game too with Leiter. I expressed my sentiments about Mark Leiter on Friday's show and how I feel about him. Leiter comes in, gives up the game.
It might be your fault.
In the 8th, might be my fault.
That could be your fault because that was just unnecessary hate on him prior to him doing anything really poor.
Probably saw it and lost confidence.
Right. It's probably exactly what happened.
Yeah, because they take my opinion very seriously in the Yankee clubhouse, and they all do watch the Burrows.
Right. That's what I've heard, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but I'll circle all the way back to my biggest fear with the Yankees. Jonathan puts it right in the comments. Put him to the sun. Williams. Can you fix Devin Williams, Mike? Can he be fixed? I don't even know.
If anybody can fix him, it's this team. It's this organization. This is the team that would fix him. It is so shocking to me that the Yankees have the problem right now in the league, the most losses heading into the 8th inning or later with a lead. That is so shocking to me, just based on the way the bullpen has been for years, especially under Brian Cashman. Matt Blake's been great with these relief pitchers. You called Matt Blake a celebrity pitching coach last week. That did not go over well with some people. I'll just say that. And he is very good. He's good with the relievers. He does a great job with the relief pitchers.
Wait, but is he not like a celebrity pitching coach? How many pitching coaches are league-wide known?
Well, you made it seem like he's just, celebrity for no reason.
Okay, I have to watch back what I said because
I
kind of did. Because this is my honest thought on Matt Blake. Gets a couple relievers right every year for sure. But the Yankees develop no starting pitching.
Which is true. Which is true.
Totally true. He's the pitching coach. Everybody talks about him like he's doing what the Mets pitching staff is doing.
Well, nobody's Jeremy Hafner.
Nobody's Hefner, and nobody has the pitching lab, and it's certainly not Matt Blake. Because, listen, man, it's a serious problem that back-to-back years you have all-star closers that are awful. That's a serious issue.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't disagree. I do think he's done a good job, though, and I like this comment here from Luke. What do you think of this one? I'll put this on the screen.
Yeah, send him, dude. We'll take Beatty.
Would you do that right now? Beatty for Williams. Would you do that?
You need to throw in like a prospect in like the 50 range. That's like 19 years old.
No, I'm out.
I would need
out.
One of the Mets' top 75 prospects.
No chance.
You're out on that?
I'm out on that. Beatty's enough.
Beatty can prospect 61.
By the way, Beatty's back in the bigs after the Winker injury. I'm excited for Brett. I'm all in on Brett again.
Yeah, this cycle is ridiculous, man.
It's a crazy cycle. No, it's
like
hysterical.
It's like the James Harden cycle. I was watching Bill Simmons last night, and he's like, how does the James Harden cycle just continue? Where every year we're like, this is the year that he's really in his role. It really looks good. And then the playoffs come around, you're like, oh, he actually can't play in the playoffs. This is Beatty. Every single year, Mets fans are like, he's looking good. He's really figuring things out. And then he actually plays, and you remember, oh, he's not good at baseball.
He was starting to figure some things out before they sent him down. He hit the tank against Wheeler, and they sent him down the next day.
You're the perfect example of Beatty.
But no, I don't even know if I would do that, Williams, for Beatty. I guess I would.
But dude, that's how bad it's gotten to where there's at least a second of hesitation.
Yeah. I do think Hefner would probably figure him out.
Yeah, Murray's a big Beatty guy.
Yeah, I'm fully in. I'm happy he's back on the squad. Baby Mets are back together. It's huge.
There's Jonathan with a little rebuttal to my and I mean, they're good points here. Luis Seal's a good starter. Yeah, rookie of the year last year, had a really nice season. So you got to credit Matt Blake there, of course. And Michael King, I'd love to, credit for Michael King, but he only started for the Yankees for a month and a half before they traded him.
I actually think it's a negative against the Yankees. I think King is a negative against the Yankees
because he took him so long to figure that out.
Right. It took you so long to figure out that he's a starter, and now he's one of the better starters in the entire league with San Diego, and they figured it out, and they unlocked that potential. Yes, he was a good reliever and had good stuff, but there's a difference. I actually think King's a negative on this story here.
Yeah, and I think always in their, what's the right word for it? But in their estimation about their team and their roster, the way they viewed it, I think they always opted for Clark Schmidt over Michael King. And while Schmidt is better than the rant I gave him last week, he is not Michael King.
Well, King was also a nice weapon. Like, I understood why. He was a nice weapon. He was a multi-inning weapon for them.
He was great out of the pen for a few years.
In the bullpen. And he was very valuable, and I understand that. Now, it's not more valuable than a starting pitcher, but he still had a lot of value to them. So, and they didn't want to get rid of that. That's fine. But to have him now be a top 20, 25 starting pitcher in the league for another team, that's tough. That's a bad look.
And then, you watch what the Mets do, and I can't lie that it's not frustrating to see that their pitching staff is putting up numbers that you hope to see this healthy Yankee staff put up, but the Yankees need 30 million plus starters in the front of the rotation. Rodon's not 30 million plus, but you get what I'm saying.
You know what's interesting? It's like the Clay Holmes thing. Like, it wouldn't bother me if I was a Yankee fan.
No, that doesn't bother me at all.
Because he was never you never tried him as a starter.
No, and I wouldn't have ever. I don't blame them for not doing it. I wouldn't have ever thought about that.
That wouldn't like bother me. Like, would I laugh at it if he sucked? Yeah, probably. But it wouldn't be like, oh my God, I can't believe we didn't do this. We didn't try this. You never thought of it. Like, it is what it is.
He was a closer, and that was it.
Exactly.
He was a one-inning relief guy because remember, they got him from Pittsburgh. He's a 4.5 ERA bullpen pitcher. So they did a great job. That's a Matt Blake success story until the final season where he can't get a guy out and he can't throw a strike. That's my biggest concern, I think, or my biggest question is when I see guys have the same struggles all year. Clay Holmes is a great example of it last season. Luis Severino the year before. And even hitting-wise, Anthony Volpe has been the biggest proponent of this, I think, over the last few seasons. Jazz Chisholm early this year is having a lot of the same issues with the swing. Now we're probably not going to see him for over a month. But where is the Yankees coaching staff in trying to change the approaches of these players? Because I don't see it in the middle of the season, but I also don't know if they're trying to, But
then there's also like some success stories, and one right now is Rodon. Like, how much is Rodon taking from the coaching staff? Because it did look like we were going down a path with Rodon, after the first few starts of the year, where we were saying, oh, this, what a waste of money. I can't believe this, to now, oh, like, we're looking forward to the day he pitches because these should be wins like it was last night. Like it should have been last night, excuse me. So, like, I understand what you're saying, especially with some of the younger guys, but then, and like even Fried was a good pitcher with Atlanta, but this is, and I know it's early, but he's the Cy Young favorite in the American League right now, and he looks just more dominant than he's ever looked in his career. So what was said there? What was changed there?
And also, you know what? You got to give credit to with Cole. Like, as great as he was in Houston, it was the best years of his career. You had a guy that got nailed for spider tack, along with half the league starters, and really struggled the rest of that 2022 season or 2021 season. And he bounced back and won a Cy Young afterwards. So we thought Cole was going to be the most overpriced contract. I don't know if you did. We weren't doing this show then. We didn't even know each other then. But I thought Cole was going to turn out to be one of the most overpriced pitcher contracts of all time. And
you had that big of a reaction to the spider tack?
Well, that first year after the spider tack, It felt like he was going to be like a career 3.3 ERA guy with the Yankees.
Let's see.
Because he got lit up a few times, and most of them were against Boston, which we now know is just Cole's Achilles heel, is that Boston lineup.
So when was the spider attack?
I think it
21.
was early summer 21.
Yeah.
Because that was the year they lost to the Red Sox in the wild card, and he pitched, and he was a disaster.
Yeah, and he wasn't really he wasn't great in 22. Like he was solid. He had 200 innings, 257 strikeouts, but his ERA was 3.5. His ERA plus was 1.12.
That's what I thought they were getting after the spider attack incident, was 2022 Cole.
Okay, and then he comes back and
wins
Cy Young.
He's still a very good pitcher in the big picture of the rest of the guys in the league, but that would not have been worth nearly the contract he got. And now he has, because 2023 obviously bounces back, wins a Cy Young, and last year he was good too, but he was hurt for most of the year. He was good in the playoffs, really good in the playoffs, I thought. And
how do you feel right now about the contract?
I feel fine with the contract because they needed to go out and get that guy at the time. It was the right move.
But think about it. They opted into this, or he opted in, opted out, and opted in.
I thought Cashman knew what he was doing by making sure he didn't get the extra year on it, because I think they are down on the possibility of Cole being like, it makes it kind of clear why they signed Fried. They clearly decided they needed another ace. Maybe it was because I think the original perception was they want Cole and Fried, and maybe that's true to a certain extent, but I think it was more of an insurance policy on Gerrit Cole.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
So the fact that they did that and they have Rodon pitching well right now, it all feels all right with Cole's injury.
And then next year, hopefully you get 2 more years of Cole being a top 5 AL Cy Young Award candidate.
Exactly.
Then the contract works itself out.
Yep, exactly. Anything else on Yankees today?
How about Brett Boone? We're not really Yankees, but
Brett
kind of
Boone,
Yankees.
Rangers.
Yeah, hitting coach. Nice. Congrats.
That's going to be they're going to start hitting. Because
you think so?
Spoon ball, they're going to start hitting.
Hopefully.
But that's they need to do something.
It's been awful. Jock Peterson is awful. Awful.
Yeah.
DeGrom looks great.
94 now, Peterson?
Yeah. Saw that. See how good DeGrom looks?
Yeah.
Guy's back.
He had those couple starts in April that were not good.
And now he's back.
Now he's back.
Yeah.
He's the man. How do we feel about Bellinger's contract? Not great, because he can opt into it for next year. And that's going to be obviously something he does for 27 or 29 million next year.
Well, I mean, if he continues the 600 OPS, he's going to be.
It doesn't look like they're good. I think the Yankees are stuck with Bellinger anyways next year, or not stuck with, but they're going to have him next year because he either plays well enough to get a couple of year extension from the team, or he stinks and opts in.
His swing, he's a very, what the thing about him is, though? He's very year to year. So if he was, let's just say this is a lost season, which obviously you can still turn it around. But let's just say this is a lost season next year based on his track record the past 5-6 years. Looking at an up year for Bellinger.
Yeah, it's true. It's a good point. Don't feel good about that contract, though. You acquire the biggest center field contract in the league on a year-to-year basis, and
he's not starting every day.
No, he's not starting every day. I think I was just going to say this. Jason also comments that we don't make a serious offer for Tucker. First of all, I don't think Tucker's going to hit the open market. But second of all, if he does, the Yankees are sitting there saying, we're paying Judge $40 million a year. Bellinger's getting $29 million a year. We're keeping Dominguez in left for cheap. Or Trent Grisham just won the MVP, and we're signing him.
Am I supposed to
not at the last one? Okay. Not at the last part.
No, I don't think they are either. I think there's going to be more motivated teams. I think the Cubs are going to be, hopefully they are extremely motivated. I think the Phillies are going to be extremely motivated to go and get him. The Giants are going to make a big play at him. So I just think like the Yankees would love the idea of him, but I don't see how they make this one work. I didn't see how they were able to make Soto work with all the big contracts. They obviously tried. There's no way they can make this one work. I don't think so.
Yep. They can't. It's just that's why I'm tired of hearing of it too. I hate this is something that bothered me with the Soto thing. I hate talking about the offseason before the season ends, and it's May 6th, and all I see is Kyle Tucker, Kyle Tucker, Kyle Tucker. We're not getting him this year.
He's going to be in New York this weekend. You got to hear a little bit more about him.
Yeah, I know.
PCA's coming to town. Kyle Tucker's coming to town.
PCA's the guy I'd really want.
Of course. Who wouldn't want him?
He's the best player.
You know, he sucked for like the first 2 weeks of the year, too. Like, stunk.
Yeah, I thought I was kind of monitoring it a little bit after I texted you. I'm tired of hearing about the PCA hype because he dyes his hair blue because he's not that good.
Yeah.
And the first 2 weeks of the year, I'm looking at it saying, he's not that good. That just is what it is. Not good. And now, I mean, we have people in our comments on the PCA video this week saying he's the new Mickey Mantle.
Well, those people need to be reevaluated.
He's on pace for a 60-60.
He's not. We need to reevaluate some people's brains here.
He might go 30-50 though.
Let's see. What is this? He's 9 homers. He's got 12 ribbies at 850 OPS. I mean, yeah, he's been real good.
The stolen bases are a big draw for me too.
12.
And he's a great center fielder.
You see the play he tried to make last night?
No, I did not.
The ball had a 0% chance of being caught, and it was like way in front of him in the gap between right and center field, and he just dove and like didn't even come close to it. It wasn't a big deal; like the guy didn't advance, but it was hysterical. It's a fun watch.
There you go, Javi Baez for Mickey Mantle.
Yeah.
On Mike, I saw a TikTok last night that said that it was kind of like the style we make our videos, our non-podcast, just quick shorts, and it was. Babe Ruth trade wasn't the worst in MLB history. Javi Baez for Pete Crow Armstrong was the worst. So we'll see if that comes true.
I don't know. I was not I got to say this. I'm not right much. Was not a fan of Javi Baez.
Well,
I was not at the time. I did not want him.
Let me take a victory lap of something that I never said on video or on a podcast or anywhere. So I hate to do it because there's no evidence I said it. But I thought at the time, the day that trade was made, it was not a good trade, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought Cohen totally forced. Who was the GM that year? Was it Zach Scott?
It was Zach Scott at the time.
I thought he totally forced Scott's hand to acquire a big-name player because he wanted the second half of the season to go better than the way they were trending. Because you remember that year they were up a game the whole year on Atlanta, but you knew they weren't going to win that division.
Yeah.
And I thought Cohen forced his hand to make that trade.
Also the DeGrom thing. I mean, if they would have came out and said earlier that DeGrom had the issue with the elbow, and that was the whole torn UCL, non-torn UCL thing. If they would have said that, I think that would have eased the blow of them not going and getting a big name at the deadline because he was the team that year. So if you told the fans he's not coming back, I mean, it would have been an easier landing, not getting a player and also realizing DeGrom's not coming back. We really never had a chance.
I forgot that was the big issue with that trade. Was that DeGrom? What was that? Like a day later, even?
Yeah, it was right
after. Within 2-3 days after, if not, hours after, it was DeGrom's not going to come back this season. I forgot that was the reason that I hated it so much, and that everybody hated it so much who didn't like it. But let's go to the Mets now. They get swept on Sunday against the Cardinals. They won the Friday game, so they take 1 out of 3 in St. Louis. Sunday was a miserable day for the Mets.
Yeah.
Just an awful, horrible 2 1-run losses. The Soto robbed home run was brutal. Like that felt like the center fielder jumped 10 feet in the air to make that catch.
They're hitting the ball hard. They're hitting the ball just to gloves. That's what they've been doing for a couple of. They just like there's nothing they can do at this point. Like they're hitting the ball hard. They're doing exactly what you're supposed to do, and they're just a lot of them are out. It is what it is. It's going to happen. It's baseball. They're competitive. They're playing close games. They're fine, right? Like nobody's sitting here worried about anything. And last night was a nice win. It was a nice win to be able to stay up late and watch them almost blow a game that they usually blow and actually win was a lot of fun.
Soto this year is hitting how bad with RISP?
Really bad, actually. He's
Is it-
terrible.
I see 258. I'm looking it up right now.
Terrible with runners in scoring position.
That's been the biggest surprise for me because last year he was lights out with runners in scoring position. It was an auto run. He was putting the ball in play at least.
Like, he's not even doing that. Like, he's not even hitting with a guy on third base, one out. He's not even hitting a fly ball. The ball's on the ground every time.
I can't find his wrist right now.
I'll find it. I'm looking.
Yeah, pull it up.
He's hitting 138 with a 533 OPS, 1 homer, 8 RBIs.
God,
In
that's terrible.
35 plate appearances.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it's not what you want.
That has to get fixed because he's just way too many situations.
I think it'll get fixed.
I think so too. It's definitely going to level out, and he's going to get way too many opportunities with runners in scoring position to not produce.
Alonso has more walks than strikeouts and the most extra base hits in the league, more than your boy.
Yeah, Alonso's got to be the NL MVP right now for me, over Carroll or.
Yes, right now, yes, he is.
And I don't see it slowing down that much. He just looks that dialed in. Is he going to finish with an 1140 OPS and 470 on base? No, but I think he might hit 325 this year.
The batting average is what? Let me see. 349.
Yeah.
That obviously he's not going to hit 349.
I could see him comfortably over 300 though. He's locked in, man.
He is. I want to see what his highest, let's see. His highest ever batting average is 271 in 2022. Could he get there? Could he stay above 285?
I definitely think he's gonna. He'd have to go on a really drastic slump for him to not finish the year hitting over 290. I know there's a lot of time left in the season, but he'd have to have a pretty disappointing rest of the year to not finish over 290.
He's locked in. Everything he hits is a hard hit. Like he ripped a single last night late. Everything. He's hitting the ball, and he's not chasing. That I just almost knocked my mic over. He's not chasing. That's the biggest thing.
He's not, and he's giving you at bats that I've never seen Pete Alonso give you consistently.
No. And he's great with 2 strikes. With 2 strikes.
He shortens up his swing. He's been great. He leads the league right now in hits. Doubles. Does he lead in extra base hits or just doubles?
You just extra base hits. He's the leader.
Judge doesn't have
No, Judge
23 extra base hits?
No.
That's horrible.
Yeah, he's not good.
Yeah, but he's walked like 40 more times than anybody else.
I'm trying to see how many hits he has.
His hit streak ended last night, Judge.
What was it?
I think it was 14.
Well, good things have to come to an end eventually.
Yeah, we'll start a new one today.
No, he won't.
Yeah, but Alonso leads the league right now. Leads the NL in batting average, on base.
With
slug,
2 strikes.
OPS.
With 2 strikes, Alonso has 8 home runs and 22 RBIs, and he's hitting 264 with a 1,092 OPS.
God. That's probably the best 2-strike hitter in the league, no?
I would assume so. I mean, it doesn't tell me here, but I would assume so.
He's awesome to watch when he's on, and he's got such a chip on his shoulder because I'm not trying to knock the Mets operation of it this offseason. I think they played it perfectly. He got so disrespected this offseason.
Yeah, 100% by the rest of the league, by the Mets.
I thought the whole Soto thing, while the Mets did it right, could have been taken as disrespect because of how long he had to wait and how much they prioritized the entire Soto sweepstakes intro, welcome to the Mets, the whole thing. I think if I was Alonso, I would feel disrespected by the whole situation. Not angry at the Mets, but I would feel disrespected. I think it's 2 different things because I'd understand the Mets did what they needed to do. I'd understand how great Soto is, but I'd also be betting on myself and saying, that's a lot of disrespect you just gave me.
And it's also like the way the position I think is being paid now as well. It's not Like, it wasn't just a Mets thing. It wasn't just. I mean, it's just a league wide. The way they're paying this position is not what it used to be. And look, I think Boris definitely did not help the situation either.
Yep.
And now he's gonna reap the benefits of having this unbelievable season and being paid a lot of money for the 1 year.
I think you see the free agent market this offseason for first baseman, and the headliners are Alonso and Naylor, and then you get Murakawa or Murakami in Japan going to come over as a corner infielder, probably going to play first base in the majors. I'm really curious to see how much money those guys get. Alonso, because he's going to just shatter. He's going to have an awesome contract here, the way this is shaping up. Can he actually earn a big contract? It's not going to be a 6-year deal, but can he earn that big 4-year contract?
You think he's going to be a Met?
No, I don't. I think this is last year with the Mets. I don't think Stearns is going to pay the first baseman.
You don't think so?
But
after this season?
I could see two things happening, right? I could see Stearns not wanting to pay him, and then Cohen saying, he's our first baseman, you're paying him.
5 years, 140. You think that gets it done?
If, I don't know what the rest of his market would look like, but that's got to be around what he's going to get. Because if the Mets offer him that, he's definitely staying. But can you
justify the $30 million a year for him at 5 years, 150?
If he is a top 3 MVP this year, you definitely can.
You have to. I hate paying guys based on what like the peak, the top year of it, because by all accounts, this is going to be the best year of his career.
Yes,
but he's never going to have a better season than this one, and you're basically paying him for this one season.
Yep.
But I want him back. I want this guy to go into the Mets Hall of Fame, his number retired. If he hits 500 home runs, into the Hall of Fame as a Met. I mean, that's what I want. And selfishly as a fan.
And that's how it should be. He's David Wright. He's the next generation's David Wright.
And I could, and as a intelligent baseball fan, I could separate it. Like, I could say, oh, I understand this could be a bad baseball move, but then the fan in me that wants him to be a lifelong Met and a Hall of Famer, like, come on, get this done. No matter what it takes.
No, they really should. I think sometimes it's important to keep these guys around. Alonso's one of those rare homegrown players, especially for the Mets. How many times have we had this conversation in the last year? How many times have the Mets actually produced a player half as good as Alonso, let alone as great? So we're sitting here. I think they got to keep him, but I could see Stearns. This is where I get a little, critical of Stearns and guys that operate this way, who put price tags on positions and not people, and that bothers me if they let Alonso walk.
Yeah, 100%.
But we'll see, because what's the alternative if they let him walk? Are they going to get Rhys Hoskins and sell the fan base?
I would not be okay with that.
But that's, I don't think they're going to let Alonso walk and pay Naylor.
No, if they did that, you'd have pitchforks outside of
So it's Alonso, or you're getting significantly worse.
It'd be a prospect. It'd be Ryan Clifford, probably.
Yeah,
probably what it would be. I don't even want to go down that road. I don't.
We're not gonna.
You know what road I want to go down? The Griffin Canning Road. Another big start.
I was just gonna go down the Canning Road.
Big start again. 5 innings, no one run, 6 Ks. The man.
He's awesome.
Can't believe it.
He is the lab guy this year. It's a lock now that he is. He's got 2.5 ERA and 36 innings. Got a 1.3 whip.
Him and Clay, man. Clay's look good too.
Yeah. Clay's
big fan. I'm a big fan of Clay. I love Clay.
And it's goes back to what we said last week too. He's so likable as a guy on the team too. Like, there's not an issue with Clay Holmes.
No, he's not getting into fights in the clubhouse.
No, he's with Jeff McNeil in the tunnel.
Right, with Lindor, the raccoon.
Yeah, not giving thumbs down to fans. Those are the guys you don't really want on your team.
Right. Clay Holmes, guy you want on your team. I can't wait to get Mania back too. Like,
yep. Who are we bumping out now? We're 5 weeks in. They probably go 6-man for a little bit. But just for the sake of the conversation, who's the bump out if everybody's healthy? And then Montas is going to come back eventually, too.
So you're going to have to bump somebody out.
So you're going to have to bump somebody back out.
Oh, God, it's such a tough question. It's such a tough question because I don't see, like, again, and I said this last week, I think McGill would work in the pen. Obviously, Holmes could work in the pen, but those two have been too good to move to the bullpen. Those are like, I think, your 1 and 2 starters at a postseason series at the moment.
We said it last week. Senga is the only guy on this team that I think has no flexibility to the pen.
Senga, absolutely not.
Senga's a starter. Even if you think he's the worst of the 5 guys right now, he's the starter.
Peterson has been good, and I don't want to move him to the pen. I think he's too valuable, but he could work out of the pen.
Yep.
So now you're only really left with Canning.
And the guys, there's not a guy here besides maybe like Senga who you could say, and you wouldn't even do this with Senga, so it doesn't make sense, but where you could say you're going to pitch 4 innings, then Peterson's going to come in and we're going to try to finish the game with those 2 guys once a week. You can't really do that with any of these pitchers either because any of them can give you 6 innings right now.
It's going to be a 6-man. 110% it's going to be a 6-man if everybody's healthy. And if Montas comes back and everybody's still healthy, I think Canning goes to the pen and they'll use him as a multi-inning reliever guy. And that slider out of the pen could be nasty because it looks really good. And the way he mixes in the cutter and the fastball as well, because you're looking for the slider. He's throwing the slider basically 40, 50% of the time. Then he mixes in the cutter and the fastball. He's done a good job of that. So I think he could. My thought was he would not be a good bullpen option. He's nasty. He can pitch in the pen.
And you need to lost my train of thought for a second. You need to find a way to limit innings, I think, for Holmes and Senga, right?
Exactly.
Down the stretch. You need to find ways to limit it. So how do you do that? There's 2 ways. You have a guy like Peterson pitch the second half of their starts, or you go 6-man. I think 6-man is the best deal for the Mets. And then you get to the postseason and you can evaluate there. And we're naive to sit here and say these guys are going to stay healthy the whole year once Manaea and Montas come back. Yeah. Always going to be somebody on the IL on the pitching staff. But the good thing for the Mets is they have these extra arms. Sometimes I feel like a GM or a president like Stearns might wish they didn't even sign Montas at this point. But you have so many starting pitching arms that are top 3 guys potentially on majority of the teams in the league right now. This is a great situation for the Mets that they have not been in our lifetimes with the amount of arms they have, not only in the starting rotation. Obviously, we've seen them have great starting rotations, but then it goes into the bullpen too, where you just feel great about their bullpen all year. Yeah,
except Denzel Nunez last night walking 3 guys. That was not good. But yeah, no, it's a feeling. I think you want to say that the amount of guys they have, that's fine. I just like an overarching point. You've never had this feeling of trust with a president and an owner and the overall organization. Like you've never felt this way before. I think about the team, and that is what is very easing right now about having Stearns and Cohen at the helm, is that this team is going to be in contention for a very long time.
They're going through the same thing that I think the Knicks have gone through the last few years. It's different in baseball because there's no salary cap, but for an organization that had such bad ownership, that had such bad management at every level, to now just feel, even when you don't like the move, say, I have to trust it.
Yeah.
Because they haven't done anything egregiously bad like past regimes did. You just have to trust what David Stearns does. It's
a good feeling. It's got
to be a great feeling for Mets fans.
Because I'm just like, they signed Griffin Canning. And people are crapping on it.
I'm crapping on it.
I'm like, I have no reason to believe this isn't going to work.
Because they give you every reason to believe they know what they're doing.
He brought in 3 different pitchers last year, 4 different pitchers. Hauser, Manaea, Severino. And 2 out of 3 worked out. So my thought process was he brought in Holmes, Montas, Canning.
Yeah.
My thought process is 2 out of 3 are going to work out. That's how I went into this year thinking with the pitching staff. Already knowing you had Senga and Peterson and Minaya. 2 out of those 3 are going to work out.
Yeah.
3 out of 3 might work out, but you might have 2 out of 3 right now.
And everybody's working out. How about just to pivot the lineup quick? Alvarez, 8 games now played.
Yeah.
We kind of had a little discussions about he'd have to compete for that spot back with Terrence, but Terrence has certainly slowed down, and Alvarez has looked pretty good so far, I'd say. I mean, at the plate, 767 OPS. This is about what you need from him, what he's giving you. If you can get this over 162 games over a full season, which obviously isn't 162 for him, but where are you at with Alvarez, who you've been critical of?
Yeah, he's looked fine offensively since coming back. I mean, he had a boneheaded throw a couple of days ago in St. Louis, but he threw it into the outfield, cost them a run. I trust Terrence back there more. Like, that's just like my gut feeling. But made a really nice play last night. Lindor made the better play, but still, the way that Alvarez was able to get that ball out, he had a 1.82 pop time, 1.82 seconds pop time last night to get that guy at second base. The tag was great. The throw was all right. I trust Terrence more, but I understand, obviously, why that Alvarez is a starter. He's the guy.
Yep. He's awesome. Not he's awesome. We don't think he's awesome. We think he's good. The throw last night was awesome. And it was a great tag, too.
That was sick.
That was a big-time play.
Huge play. That's the game. That's the game right there. Because then Diaz is down 2-0 to Perdomo with Carroll coming up. He gets that play. He goes 3-0 to Perdomo, but you feel the confidence. You got Lindor screaming at him from shortstop. Now he's got the confidence. And then, bang, 3 straight strikes. Well, 2 straight strikes and then the foul ball and then the fly ball.
Where are you with the rest of the lineup here? With Nimmo, besides that one game, just feels like an outlier at this point.
He looks a little bit better at the plate. He's walking a little bit more now. I think he'll be fine. I don't know what fine is though. Like, I don't know what the best he gets to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fine with the lineup's fine. Taylor's been hitting at the bottom. Luis Angel Acuna has been really solid. Spark plug. McNeil, when he's gotten in, looked okay. This lineup's great. It's a great lineup. It's so deep. It's such a long lineup. So they're going to score runs, man. They're exciting to watch. The top 3 is awesome.
So much for the Jose Siri hype.
Yeah, no.
It's not even playable.
No. Well, he's hurt.
He's hurt, but he's never. The 10 games he's played has been terrible.
Well, he wasn't playable, of course.
Yeah.
But
I was just thinking all day yesterday, like, not to keep doing this, but PCA, like, the Mets just need a center fielder. Really, imagine they had PCA.
Well, we got Taylor, so I mean it's fine.
Yeah,
he's hitting 542 over his last 8 games. I mean, we're good.
We're good.
We're definitely good here.
It's like center field. Do you think that Taylor? I hate Taylor. Yeah,
why,
dude?
Why do you hate Tyrone Taylor?
There's another guy that I get the vibes factor from last year, and he's a really good defender, and he's a better hitter than I even give him credit for. I just don't like him at all.
He's so solid. Love him.
He's one of my few players, similar to Mark Leiter before Saturday, where I just don't think they should be in lineups or in games, but they're actually good enough to be there.
He's great in center field. Like, he can. My friend Trevor here is calling me out saying I hate every Mets player. He was like, if he hits 250 and just plays the defense he plays, like, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's true. He's great out there.
It is.
He's
And I'll admit it's true.
He hit 9th. I don't give a rat's ass. Like, it's fine. Hating on Tyrone Taylor for what?
There's just a couple random guys in the league that I do not like for no reason.
You know who I can't stand? Starling Marte. He stinks. There's a reason why they tried to get rid of. He stinks.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's
done. He's done. He's cooked.
I really liked Marte. I loved the signing at the time. It always felt like
hated the signing at the time.
It always felt like the years he got. Now he's in the last year of it, but it always felt like the years he got was rich. but you wanted him for the immediate Buck era, and it was good for the first year.
No, he was great in that first year. He was
awesome. He was one of the best players in the league, best outfielders in the league in the first season. But then he couldn't stay healthy the rest of it, and now he's just shot.
He's so shot, so done.
Because last year he wasn't even good when he played. I'm just looking at his stats now. Last year he was below average when he played.
And I don't know what they're going to do here at DH because Winker's on the IL for 6 to 8 weeks. They had a lot of injuries, actually, the Mets last couple of days. But Winker's out for 6 to 8 weeks. They brought Beatty back up. In all seriousness, like that's obviously not enough to platoon at DH or something. I know they're probably going to stick Vientos there, who can't hit a fly ball with a guy on third base ever, like not even close, like not even a thought in his head. He's just going to chase a slider out of the zone. That's what he's going to do. Sorry. None of them actually. None of those guys. Situational hitting is zero except for Lindor and Pete. That's it.
Yep, that's it.
Nobody
and Soto will come around to it, but
but nobody else is good with the situational hitting.
Buck was the man, though. Buck had those guys going in 2022 situationally.
He did, yeah. That's why Lindor
until it mattered, but
yeah, of course, in Atlanta, home against Padres.
Yeah, Grisham.
Grisham killed him. You don't remember that. You don't remember that, but he did.
I remember that.
Marte,
big time.
Marte's cooked. What do you do at DH?
Traded for Grisham 3 weeks later, but that trade for Grisham was awesome. At DH, I don't know what the Mets do at DH because Vientos was supposed to be my next coming of JD Martinez, and now I'm sitting here and I don't know. I just don't know what they do. Because DH, contrary to popular belief, is a very difficult position to add at the deadline.
Yeah.
Fans think there's just like guys sitting around to be DHs. If you're hitting well enough to be a designated hitter, you're not getting traded.
I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I think they're going to have to bring somebody up from the minors. John Singleton. He's been hitting. He might be the answer.
There we go. We just figured it out.
Or you're just using it to give guys days off. And you're putting sketchy players in certain positions. I don't know.
I'm trying to think if maybe there's a guy that might be a trade deadline. A trade deadline guy that, like last year of his contract or aging. Let's see. Let's take a look. No, nobody.
We're done.
Nope, just figured it out. Nobody available.
Cooked. What else? I don't think I have anything else.
I think we're good. I'm just looking for DH candidates for the Mets.
Let me look through quick. Daniel Nunez, my guy.
Like you would need a guy like a Rosarena, but the Mariners are in first.
Right. Also, I was thinking about this last night, like as Diaz was warming up before we get out of here. For a guy that makes $20 million a year at a position you shouldn't make $20 million a year at, he makes me really uncomfortable. I mean, like, I should not be sitting there last night.
Yeah.
Okay. With 8, 9, and 1 coming up. Granted, 9 kills them, but I should not be sitting there 8, 9, 1 against the D-backs up 1 with my $21 million freaking closer. And my thought process is they're blowing this game. Like, that should not be what I'm thinking.
No, you shouldn't be, but that's kind of how it goes.
I guess that's how it goes. I guess
I feel like paying closers. Because remember Craig Kimbrell?
Settling.
Like Craig Kimbrell, the year the Red Sox won the World Series, I think his whip was like 1.3. But his ERA was almost the same because he would just put guys on. Devin Williams, the same way in Milwaukee the last 2 years.
Yeah, Diaz's whip is 1.2. But his ERA is 3.86. He's got 8 saves.
Yeah, so you put the guys on, but they get out of it.
You know what Diaz does? Sometimes it's not high leverage enough for him. So
he raises the stakes on his own.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
It's my own hands. Have a little fun tonight. Last thing I wanted to talk to you about, I don't want to forget to bring it up. Attendance. We haven't really checked attendance since we said in the beginning of the year the Mets have to have better attendance. Right now, tied for 6th in attendance, 36,000 a game.
It's big.
You're happy with that number, right?
100%. That's big. That's a big.
Third in the division, though, but
that's a big number. Surprised. I saw Atlanta last night.
Yep.
Not packed at all. Not packed at all last night.
Yeah, well, sometimes with the ticket sales, it's tough because you factor in average tickets sold. Really, you can't count how many people actually show up.
Right.
How
Yep.
many season ticket holders aren't showing up to Atlanta after that start?
Oh,
just guys that have the cheapest set of season tickets every year, and they really are only going to go.
No, they're not going.
They have like an every 7th game package, every 9th game package, and they're just going once a month.
They're not going. I will say, like, the Mets now got through the tough part. The tough part was April and early May.
Yeah.
Now, this weekend, you have the Cubs coming in, and that's an easy series to sell. They have great giveaways, and they're going to sell the Cubs games out no matter what. And the Cubs are good. But even if the Cubs were mid, those series always, for whatever reason, the Cardinals and the Cubs, it always sells out. They got through the tough part. They're going to be fine with the attendance.
I was going to say before, too, you got big promotions this weekend. Clay Holmes hockey jersey.
That's huge.
Edwin Diaz bobblehead night.
I think they're doing promotions, too, for that Pirate series right after.
Yep,
trying to get people in the building.
It's dog bark at the park.
I hate
night.
bark at the park.
Bring your canine companion and support the largest no-kill. Wow, you hate bark at the park.
I
Support the
hate
largest no-kill shelter.
No.
Wow.
No. Do not say that. I do not like.
You already said your mind.
No, I don't like bark at the park night. I don't like it. I'm against it. Am I a loser for that?
Silver Sluggers night, game 2 against the Pirates. What is that? Silver Sluggers is designed for individuals who are 55 years of age or older. Every Silver Sluggers package includes tickets to 3 select. Okay, so it's just a ticket package. 3 select matinee games. So it's a Tuesday. That's not a matinee game, but I guess you get the package. And then you get this Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Night. You get a hat.
Nice.
It's a little black Mets hat with the Asian American Pacific Islander flag on it, I guess.
I probably won't be at any of these games this week.
Any Subway Series in the Bronx next week, right?
I will not be there. I'll be in Boston the day after.
No promos there. Yankees, no promos pretty much ever.
Well, they had Jazz handing out his jerseys. I'm getting hate here for no bark at the dark. No hating bark at the park.
That's a bad look, hating bark at the park.
I just don't.
Everybody loves dogs. You're a dog guy.
I like dogs. Yes, 100%. Big dog guy. Don't like cats. Big dog guy. I just don't think that's the place for a dog to be.
How about White Sox? The White Sox or Dodgers White Sox weekend. They got big promos that week. Big time.
At
Fireworks night. No, home the whole week.
Oh.
You got to go to all these games. Fireworks night, Friday against the Dodgers. Kodai Senga replica jersey on Saturday. Vientos bobblehead night. Mania camo night. Camo Mania jersey. He's not even going to play.
Sure.
Another Silver Sluggers day for the old folk.
Yep.
And then you have Hello Kitty. But dude, what is this? What is this? Like this team? Hello Kitty bobblehead night against the Rockies on Friday.
It's the Rockies. You have to get people in the building. So if you can get that demographic of people that like Hello Kitty, it's a win.
They're doing 3 straight games of Hello Kitty bobblehead against the Rockies. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There's no way there's that many Hello Kitty fans that want to go to Mets Rockies to get this freaking Mets City Connect Hello Kitty bobblehead.
Well, maybe they do.
You only have to go one night to get it.
Okay, people are going to miss out. 20,000 people, the first 20,000 get it.
$5 Tuesday.
I've been there. I've been there $5 Tuesday. It's a good deal.
That's huge.
It's a good deal.
Let's wrap it here.
No, you're taking a crap on Citi Field. I don't get it. What you
Hello Kitty bobblehead nights.
You gotta walk into the museum at Yankee Stadium. Sorry, and sit there and in silence. No
Hello
waves,
Kitty draws
no
a sellout. Says who? 3 nights in a row against the Rockies. Come on, Giuseppe goes. Come on, dude.
Yeah, well, my
Giuseppe,
cousin will be
takes.
My cousin will be at the Rocky games.
All right, that's a wrap. Episode 47 of The Burrows. Kevin Bunk, Michael Marlowe with you every week for BTO Media. Make sure you check out the Playbook on Instagram for New York Sports Shorts with Gabe. Check out No Good Takes podcast. You're a hockey fan. We're getting into hockey now. You can see the quick shorts on Instagram for a quick tease of it, but you want to listen to Giuseppe's entire show. And then we also have Hardline. Don't know what you're doing this offseason really, but the Hardline, go get your football content. There's still some. You guys do post-draft video?
We're going to record something this week, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so this week, JM and Mike back with that. And once again, new podcast coming pretty immediately with the two of us that we're starting up this week. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Go Yankees, go Mets, go Knicks, go Islanders. First pick in the draft. Sorry, Rangers got nothing going on right now. But everything great in New York sports land here in May, except for the Yankees. So thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.